first of all, let's start with how you got started in this business of forecasting for movies.
Okay, well, I've been at WeatherNet, a private weather company here in the United Kingdom, since 1997. And our first ever film that we got involved with was Die Another Day, and that was back in 2001. How it happened? Very simple. We got a phone call from Warner Brothers in Leavesden, just outside of London. And they said, listen, we've been using the Met Office for the last few years. We're very pleased with what they do and what they say. But one thing we sort of have trouble with is we don't have consistency with the people who we ring all the time. So every time we ring, there is a different person at the end. It's either male, female. They have a different style of how they actually state the forecast to them. And they said, if we just ring you and only you, we'll know of your style. Are you happy if we just call you? So I said, yeah, you can call us anytime, or we'll send you an email. It's not a problem. And so it all started from Die Another Day, as I said, and they were very happy with it. And that was obviously over 20 years ago now. And from then, they sort of like dropped a pebble in a pond sort of thing, and the ripples went out. And for over 20 years now, we've had about 1,500 different people come to us at some point over nearly 260 films or TV shows or adverts since. And that's quite simply how it started.
So what exactly kind of weather information are they looking for?
Lots of things. Continuity is a very important thing for the film industry. So we've obviously, like yourselves, we've got to try and be as accurate as possible with the models that we use. And sometimes the models play ball and it's absolutely fine. And when they want sunshine, they get it. And when they want rain, they also get it. Sometimes it can differ, as you well know. Obviously, if they want something 5 days ahead from now, maybe a daytime forecast becomes a nighttime forecast and vice versa. But generally continuity. So if they film a certain shot on a certain day, and then they have to do it again a few days later, or they have to then go from one shot straight onto another, they obviously need to have a similar sunlight or cloudy skies or whatever. And that's where we try and do our best for them.
Do you have any interesting stories from a film where perhaps things didn't go as planned, or you really had to work hard to get a certain forecast?
The one I remember, which unfortunately didn't go very well, was actually an advert. They were filming an advert in Plymouth, in Devon, here in England, and they were very close to the coast. And I remember it was an April period, and quite simply, it was expected to be a very, very sunny day, which it was. Sadly for them, they were being on the coast, they were affected by sea fog, and this sea fog kept coming in, going out, coming in, and it virtually ruined the whole of the advert. And if they'd gone in 5-10 miles inland, it was beautiful blue sky, sunshine, barely a cloud in the sky. But this sea fog, it just ruined it for them. And it was so hard to predict. It was so difficult to determine when it was going to clear and vice versa, come and go. It was an absolute nightmare for us, and it was a nightmare for them.
You've been part of some very big name films. Harry Potter?
Yeah, we did the last 5 Harry Potters, and very fortunate to be credited on the actual film itself. Yeah, we've done the latest Star Wars films. I think the last 3 or 4 we've done. And of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of this interview, we did Die Another Day, and we've done all the James Bonds since, on and off. Sometimes they've needed our help from not only from a national point of view here in the UK, but also international as well. So we've done forecasts for them in Turkey and in Spain, etc. So yeah, you can't get much bigger than that from a British film industry.
Last time I talked to you, you told a really great story about Harry Potter and the moon. So you're not just forecasting weather elements, it's kind of all nature elements, correct?
Yeah, that moon aspect was very difficult. Prisoner of Azkaban, if I recall, rather than using a computer generated image of the moon in the sky, they wanted an actual image of the full moon. And as you're aware, the full moon is only visible for a few days every month. And I think it was 4 or 5 months into the actual film before they got that shot, because most times it was either very cloudy or it was overcast with rain, something along those lines. So actually seeing the full moon and clear skies, especially here in the UK, quite rare.
This is something very specific, it seems, to the UK. Nothing like this exists in the US. It seems like a really great opportunity for a meteorologist to take advantage of.
Yeah, I was surprised. Obviously, with respect to the US, obviously a lot of your information and models and things are readily available to the general public. Here in the UK, it's a little bit more prohibited. I don't know if that's the case. Now, obviously, with technology and phones, etc., mobile phones and iPads, etc., and all that, it's easy to find apps and forecasts. But old school people still like to ring up and speak to a human rather than rely on a computer generated forecast.
Do you ever get to take part in these movies at all, or are you just kind of helping from afar?
We always do our forecasts from an office base. I have been invited to sets on a few occasions, but it's just from a complimentary point of view. So I've just sat there, and yes, I've been very fortunate. I met most of the Harry Potter cast on the day I was there. But yeah, it was just courtesy. It was nothing more. I didn't need to be there to do the actual forecast. And I remember being at the James Bond set on Quantum of Solace, and I knew the day before I predicted it was going to be very, very wet. And it'd have been a bit embarrassing if I turned up and it was dry, but thankfully it was very, very wet. So it was sort of like, whew, what a relief. I can sit here and watch the actual film being made, and knowing that I can hear rain on the actual rain outside.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that while we're very impressed by what actors do and movie makers do, that they're probably equally impressed by what you do. Did they treat you that way?
Yeah, they get very, very complimentary. There's no doubt. If we do get it wrong, we're grown up enough to say, listen, Mother Nature had the final say. It was wrong, and I apologise accordingly. And that's all we can do. But they understand that, and especially when you've got very difficult weather scenarios like sunshine and showers is a dreadful one to. For the film industry, when you're sort of knowing that the shower's going to be around, it could be very, very dry, and it could also be very, very wet, or a bit in between. So it's a stop start scenario for them. But then when you do tell them there's going to be showers and there isn't any, then they do get a bit, oh, we didn't see any showers today. I said, yeah, if you'd been about 5 miles away, you would have seen them. And as you're well aware, they can be very, very localized. So that's really a very difficult one. We've also mentioned the situation of fog. We won't go any further than with that. But yeah, they're the real 2 difficult ones. The only other difficult one that we've had is when rain and sleet and snow occur, when you've got that sort of transitional zone between the 3 precipitation elements. When you're predicting rain and it actually turns out to be snow and vice versa, that's obviously, of course, if rain then turns to snow, instead of having a nice green landscape, you've now got a white one. So it's a different scene for them. So you've got to be as best you can to get it right, especially for an outdoor shoot where you're hoping to sort of record a field in green and suddenly then turns white. It doesn't bode well.
So last question, is this all your company does, or do you have other clients?
Oh gosh, no. From an actual film point of view, WeatherNet it's a very small part of it. Most of the work that we do at WeatherNet is insurance based, so we actually we deal with over 100 clients of where we sort of, by using either remote sense data or old school weather stations, tell them if there was a windy day or a wet day in their specific area, and based on the criteria of their insurance policy, etc., it will then determine if the claim that that the policyholder has put in is going to be either accepted or rejected. So that covers for about 80 to 85% of our work. The other work that we do work for the construction industry. Again, if they're delayed on a certain project here and there, we can tell them if it was a justified case, etc. And the other thing we do is legal weather reports as well, which I do and that for the company. Again, slip and trips, road traffic accidents where the weather has played some form of part. So we just confirm it based on, again, remote sense data or old school weather stations, if those certain weather perils were present at the time with the incident.